Gamers. I'm here today with Mark Keplinger. He is the general manager and co-owner of Titan Games in Champaign, Illinois. And I'm Tom Seidner, of course. And today we're going to talk about some games that came out recently and that you can get at Titan Games. So what would you like to talk about first, Mark?
First, I'm going to talk about Xanathar's Guide to Everything. So Xanathar's Guide to Everything has two different covers. The cover that will be available year-round will be this one here, and then there's also a release date only cover. So as long as we have these, you can pick these up, but they usually go really quickly. They make about one book like this a year, and this year it's Xanathar's Guide to Everything. This book is really near and dear to my heart because Xanathar is the beholder of about the first video game I ever owned, I the Beholder, back in 1991. And so this is a book that basically is going to be great for D&D players because it has, I believe it's 25 new subclasses for all of the D&D classes, as well as new magic items, new spells, and ways to use things like traps and other things for dungeon masters to really mess with the characters.
This is a beautiful cover, too. I really like the way they have all the eyes on there for the Beholder. That's really cool. So,
let's see. The next game I'm going to talk about today is Burgle Brothers. Burgle Brothers is a Tim Fowers game, and it's one that we carry here at Titan Games. Burgle Brothers is a team game, so it's a cooperative where everybody wins and loses together. And you can also play it as one player, but you can play it up to 4, and it's even more fun when you bring your friends in. Each character will be a different burglar, and as a team, you have to go into a very well-protected place that has 3 different floors, and you need to get to the safe and find a way to crack it without getting caught by the guards or triggering the alarms, and then get to the helicopter on the rooftop. So it's kind of this really cool thematic game, but also has really neat mechanics. And it's a challenging game too, so a lot of times you might not win your first time, but it always has new surprises because the board randomly is randomized each game.
do you play a specific character in the game?
Yeah, so there's like a safe cracker, and one's character good at stealth and all that sort of thing.
All right, cool. Yeah, that looks really cool. And so is it card-based? It looks like it might be card-based.
Yeah, so you have tiles, basically. They're essentially cards that are 4x4s, and then 3 floors like that. And then your characters go up on those tiles.
Oh.
And you have different pieces that go on those, for example, like the motion detectors and things like that.
Oh, that's cool. All right. So what else do we got here, Mark?
Let's see. Ethnos was a game that was released earlier this year. And Ethnos is a really cool game where it's competitive and it plays between 2 and 6 players. And it plays in about 45 minutes. If you play all 6 players, it'll probably be closer to an hour. And the replayability of this game is unbelievable. Basically, you play as 6 different fantasy races, and each of them has different special abilities. You kind of have some card collection elements where you want to play different forces that either match color or they match the type, like dwarves or avians or whatever else they might be. And each of them has different special abilities. So at different points of the game, you might want to use different leaders and different forces. It's a pretty cool game where you kind of take control of different areas of the game for points, and then you also want to kind of set collect with the different types of groups.
Yeah, I've played this game with my game group, and it kind of reminds me, the part of it kind of reminds me a little bit of Ticket to Ride, where you have some cards out on the table. You can either take a card that you can see, or you can take a card that's off the top of the stack that you can't see, and you're trying to collect these colors and using those colors to help the factions take over areas. And it's got this nice little map here that different sections of the map you're trying to gain control of. And the nice thing is in this game, you don't have to have the main control over the area, right? So if it's the 3rd age and you have the 3rd most control in that area, you can actually get points as well. So the points ramp up over the ages, and you're trying to control areas, and so it doesn't hurt to actually have control in some area that somebody else has higher control than you. You can still get points. So the different factions, you don't use every faction every time, do you, in the game?
Right, so you only use about half of the 12 factions, and you can mix and match any way you want.
And there's a lot of difference between the factions from what I hear. So, I mean, I think some of the factions have different components that actually come into the game when you use that faction.
Absolutely, and there are 6 kind of recommended starting ones that are a little more straightforward, and then they can get pretty complex and pretty interesting.
Cool. This is a really fun game. This is put out by Cool Mini or Not, who usually makes these huge miniature games, but they really do pick some really good games that are more of a non-miniature game to emphasize in their catalog, and this is one of them. This is a really good one.
It's a really interesting game with a lot that's going on, but it's also very easy to learn. You can jump right in the first time.
Cool. All right, and what do we got over here? That was a big box.
So this one here is one of those Cool Mini or Not games with awesome minis in it, and this is the Godfather Corleones Empire. And so in this one, everyone plays different rival families, and you kind of play out through 4 acts of the game. So you start out with a wedding, and you move all the way up to the betrayal at the end, where you're trying to get out with the most money. And so in this game, you kind of take over different boroughs. You have 2 different kinds of forces. You have your thugs, and then you also have the family. And the family gets to do the things that happen in the back of the house, whereas the thugs kind of knock down the fronts. The theme in this game is just awesome. You play different jobs, such as take the cannoli, or intimidation and things like that. If you ever take out any of your enemy forces, they go into the Hudson River, and you just kind of set the mini in there. So it's pretty sweet.
Turn this over, then they can get a chance to see the.
There are a lot of really nice miniatures in the game, and the gameplay is very fun too. There are all sorts of other factors, such as you can eventually bribe the mayor or a beat cop or whatever else, and they have different abilities in the game. And you kind of had to bid to see who ends up getting them as their ally. So there are a lot of neat features that change the game from play to play.
Yeah, I have not played this game, but I watched some people play this at Gen Con, and it's got a really beautiful board, and you're moving your figures around on the board, and you've got some, like you said, you've got some henchmen that you're trying to get to do like all your dirty work for you, and then your family is trying to be in the background, kind of controlling the finances and all the things that are going on, throughout the game. So
during the game, you're knocking people off, and you're doing all these jobs, but at the end of the game, it's whoever has the most cash they can put in their suitcase and get out of town with who wins the game.
So, all right, well, those are the new games for this week. Thank you, Mark, for being on here with us and giving us the information on those games. We really appreciate it. And until we see you guys again, happy gaming.
Thanks for having me on. Happy gaming.
Yep. This video was provided by The Lonely Gamer. To see more of our news, reviews, and videos, please visit us at lonelytabletopgamer.com.